guys, happy Monday. Hope you're having a good start to your week. Today I wanted to talk about goals, and I know a lot of us made goals. Some of them sent them to me. I made some goals on a piece of paper. But what I wanted to talk about is just, checking in on those goals, because a lot of times we make goals and we honestly dream big things and then we don't know how to achieve them, or like we don't check up in them, or we forget them, or they seem impossible. So today I thought that we would talk about how big goals are built from small steps. And as always, I have notes. So excuse me if I'm looking down. I'm just reading notes because I'm tired and I'm at work. So at the beginning of the year, a lot of people talk about their goals, big goals, exciting goals, life-changing goals. And then a few weeks later, most of us feel overwhelmed by them, or they feel impossible or forgotten. But here's the truth that most people don't tell you. Big goals don't fail because you're not capable of them. They fail because people try to leap instead of step. Okay, so we try to, make a goal and we want to achieve it because we want to go from X, A to Z, but we don't want to do all the different letters that are in them. Okay, so every big goal that we make for ourselves is just really a collection of very small actions done consistently. So that's kind of what we're speaking to. Think about it like climbing a staircase. You don't jump to the top. You take one step at a time, then the next step, then the next step. No single step feels life-changing, but together, all those steps move you to somewhere new. That's also called micro steps. And that's what we're going to speak to today is micro steps. A micro step is the smallest possible action you can take that still moves you in the forward direction. So it's not get into amazing shape. If you're trying to get in shape, it's I'm going to walk for 10 minutes a day. That's what your micro step is. Or it's not that I'm going to get straight A's. It's I'm going to review my notes for 15 minutes a day. Or I'm going to spend more time on school. Or I'm going to focus when I'm doing my schoolwork and cut out maybe my electronics or that sort of thing. It's not that I'm going to be more confident. It's that I'm going to speak up once a day. I'm going to speak up. Remember that it's focusing on the progress, not the perfection, okay? I even need to be reminded of that. Focusing on progress, not perfection. We all want to be good at what we're doing, right? That's just the truth. Remember this, small enough that your brain doesn't panic, okay? So the micro steps are small enough so your brain doesn't go in panic mode, okay? Because if you say, I want to do, X goal, let's say I'm going to use one of the boys, or both of the boys, getting on the youth national team. If you say, I want to make the youth national team, that's kind of a big task, right? That's a big task. There's a lot of facets to it, but what are the micro steps to getting on the youth national team? Maybe it's as simple as, I'm going to, practice my first touch for 20 minutes a day. Now, practicing first touch for 20 minutes a day doesn't seem so bad, right? But getting on the youth national team does. Or maybe it's as simple as I'm going to use my left foot every single day for 20 minutes. That doesn't seem as bad. And maybe, it doesn't get you to your goal right away, but eventually it will. Okay. Also, simple enough that you can actually start. So I just kind of spoke to that, like, right? Making simple enough to where you can actually start it. Because starting is the hardest part, guys. Okay, so like the starting part is the hardest part. So it's important to remember goals matter not because they make you perfect, but because they give you direction. Okay. So our goals matter because they give us a direction, because otherwise we're just kind of living, which is fine. But if you have goals, you can have a direction in your life. You can have a purpose in your life. You can feel filled at the end of the day, like you accomplished something, like you're mattering. Um, when you don't know where you're going, everything feels confusing. Okay. It can feel confusing. I know that when I don't know where I'm going with things, I feel confused. That can be in relationships, that can be in friendships. If you don't know where it's going, it feels confusing. You can drift and you react to life instead of creating it. So you react to it instead of creating it. So when you have intention and purpose, you can go towards a goal. Okay, if you have a goal in a relationship, in a friendship, in a job, in school, then you can work towards it. Okay, goals give you clarity. Okay, what matters to me? What kind of person am I becoming? What do I want my effort to build? Okay, those are 3 important questions. So I'm going to repeat those. What matters to me? What kind of person am I becoming? And what do I want my effort to build? Okay, I think those are 3 important questions for relationships, friendships, school, sports, anything that you do. But here's something important. Goals aren't about pressure, okay? They're about process. So your goals shouldn't feel like you're pressuring yourself. The goal isn't to get it right every day. The goal is to keep showing up. So you want to just keep showing up, consistently showing up. We talked about that before. A plan doesn't have to be complicated. It just needs to be 3 things, okay? So here's my breakdown. The goal, what you're working towards, okay? So some of you have already sent and set your goals to me. Okay, so that's step 1. You set your goals, okay? But now this is step 2, micro steps, the small daily or weekly actions. How are you going to get that? So my goal, I'll share one of mine, is actually, I'll share the 3rd thing, consistency, doing the small things even when motivation fades. So I'll share one of my goals. My goal is to focus intentionally more on myself, okay? But that's the goal. That's the step 1. But what are my micro steps in that? So, for instance, one of my micro steps might be going to the beach 1 day a week and sitting there and just being by myself, because that's what I need. Okay? And my consistency in that is setting aside time. My time is Wednesday morning after I drop Bailey off. That's my time. So I'm setting aside that time. So that would be completing the process. Okay? That's what that looks like. It can be that simple, right? It can be that simple. Some of your goals might be more complicated. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is built by keeping promises to yourself, especially the small ones, okay? So do I give up Wednesday because I need to do other things? No, I do Wednesday. Wednesday is my time. I go and do it, okay? And when you take the micro steps, something powerful happens, okay? You start trusting yourself, okay? You stop you start waiting to feel ready, okay? You realize progress is created and not found. Progress is created and not found. One of the most powerful quotes that I saw is, you don't have to see the whole staircase, you just have to take the first step. So that's in anything. That's relationships, friendships, life, work, sports, anything, personal life. You don't have to see the staircase. You don't have to see the end result. You don't have to be like, oh, it has to be XYZ, because things change, people change, time changes, situations change, okay? And we're only, right, guys, controlling our controllables, okay? So we're talking about just taking the first step towards whatever you want. Like, what is your first step? What is it? What does it look like? This step might feel tiny. That's okay. It might feel unimpressive. It doesn't have to be impressive. We're working on ourselves. It doesn't have to be anything. And you have to understand that. It doesn't have to be anything. It has to be what you want it to be. But it counts. A year from now, you won't remember the days you waited. You'll remember the days that you chose to begin. Yep. So don't ask, can I achieve the goal? Ask, what is the simplest step I can take today? What is the simplest step I can take today? That's what micro steps are. That's how big goals are built. That's how clarity is created. That's how lives change, one step at a time. Reflection questions, because you know I have them. What is one goal that you care about this year? And what is the smallest step you would take this week towards it? Okay? Answer that for yourself. Take your goals, answer that. And then a second question might be, how might your life look different if you focused on progress instead of perfection? Think about that one, progress instead of perfection. Okay? I'd also love if you take your goals, and I'm going to do this for you guys too, and I'll share them with you guys because that's how I am. What are your micro goals under your goals? So take your goals and do at least one micro goal under that. Maybe it's 2 micro goals. Okay? Everyone, have a good week. Go and get it. Love you all. Bye.